It is no surprise that Portugal, being one of Europe's oldest countries, is full of bone-chilling mysteries and some truly horrendous events that have haunted the land for centuries. Viewer beware, these stories will make your hair stand up and your eyes water. Although Portugal is regarded as a fairly safe place in the world, you may not feel that way after watching this video. Portugal is a country known for its breathtaking landscapes and rich cultural heritage. But it's also a land that is shrouded in mystery and haunted by restless spirits. From the crumbling castles that loom over misty valleys to the forgotten villages steeped in folklore. This is a nation where tales of the supernatural are as abundant as sunlit hills. Tonight, we embark on a journey through the haunted heart of Portugal, where the line between the living and the dead is thin, and the past refuses to stay buried. These are Portugal's most haunted places. Our first story takes place in the medieval city of Coimbra. A city steeped in history and academic prestige, it also harbors a dark, haunting past. Coimbra was once the capital of the Portuguese kingdom before Lisbon. In the mid-18th century, Portugal faced a crisis of infant abandonment. With many newborns being left at foundling wheels, these were specialized institutions where mothers could anonymously leave their babies. The state provided small subsidies to anyone who took in these abandoned infants, hoping to offer them a chance at life. But enter Louisa de Jesus, a greedy woman who saw the system not as a way to help, but as an opportunity for profit. Between 1760 and 1772, Louisa adopted dozens of infants, collecting the state's payment for their care, ensuring she could adopt more babies and claim more money. But the villagers started to grow suspicious as infants in her care continually started to disappear one by one. After a thorough investigation, authorities uncovered the full extent of her horrific deeds. At least 28 babies had been brutally murdered by Louisa and found buried in shallow graves around her home. In July of 1772, she was arrested, tried, and became one of the last women in Portugal to be executed by hanging, events that still plague the streets of Coimbra to this day. Number 2, the Valongo Sanatorium. One of the most haunted places located in northern Portugal near the city of Porto. During Salazar's dictatorship regime in the 1950s, this hospital specialized in the treatment of many chronic illnesses, especially tuberculosis. The building contained an Our Lady of the Sick chapel and a small school. Although the capacity for the hospital had only 50 beds, apparently about 350 patients occupied the hospital at any given time. Many speculate the patients were subject to mistreatment and died terrible deaths. This hospital was the last of its kind in Portugal and shuttered its doors in 1975, and then suffered a deep state of degradation plagued by fires and vandalism. Many visitors have claimed to hear screams and see shadowy figures appearing in the dark, decrepit hallways. Certainly not a place I would want to visit at night. Number 3, the radium baths of seaa. The history of this abandoned hotel and spa dates back to the early 20th century, when it was built around a natural spring that was believed to have therapeutic properties due to its high levels of radium, a radioactive element. The site was developed in the 1910s and became a destination for those seeking health cures, as radium was thought to have healing powers at the time. The waters from the spring were said to treat a variety of ailments, including arthritis and skin conditions. People flocked to the spa, drinking and bathing in the radium-infused waters, convinced they were experiencing miraculous recoveries. However, the supposed healing benefits of radium quickly gave way to a much darker reality. Radium, now known to be highly toxic, caused severe radiation poisoning among the guests and the workers. Over time, the hotel gained a terrible reputation not for its cures, but for the mysterious illness and disappearances of those who visited. The site remains a testament to the dangers of blind faith in unproven cures, as well as a chilling reminder of the lives lost to the allure of miracle treatments. When visiting Portugal or a new country, you know it doesn't have to be scary? Staying connected to the outside world. Luckily, the sponsor of today's video, Airlo, can be your light in the darkness. Airlo is an eSIM that you can download on an app from your phone or sign up from a desktop computer. With Airlo, there are over 200 countries to choose from, and it's perfect for world travelers like myself that may need to spontaneously drop into another country or region. They offer a local eSIM, which would be for if you're visiting only one country, a regional eSIM if you're planning a trip across a specific region like Europe, and a global eSIM if you're jet setting around the world. You can even still receive calls and SMS on your original number from your home country. The great thing is that you don't need to keep track of a physical SIM card. The only thing you'll need is an unlocked phone compatible with eSIMs. It only takes about a minute to set up Airlo on your phone, and most destinations even allow you to set it up before you land so you can automatically switch on your data and be connected to the outside world. No more having to wait in a scary, long line at a cell phone store. You can just go right outside and catch a taxi to your hotel. There is a link in the description below for you to download the app to get $3 off your Airlo eSIM purchase if you use the code DAVE3. Thanks to Airlo, traveling doesn't have to be scary. Now, back to the video. Number 4, the spirit of Diogo Alves. Diogo Alves is one of the most infamous figures in Portuguese criminal history, and his dark legacy has led many to believe that his spirit haunts Lisbon to this day. A notorious 19th century criminal, Alves earned the moniker the Aqueduct Murderer for his brutal killings at the Águas Livres Aqueduct in Lisbon. Between 1836 and 1839, Alves would rob and murder travelers, throwing them from the aqueduct to their deaths. Initially, these deaths were believed to be suicide, but it was later discovered that Alves was responsible for dozens of them. Alves' reign of terror ended when he was captured and sentenced to death for multiple murders, including the massacre of a wealthy family. He was hanged in 1841, becoming one of the last people executed in Portugal before the abolition of the death penalty. His haunting stems not only from the brutality of his crimes, but also from a peculiar twist. After his execution, his head was preserved in a jar for scientific study. This eerie preservation adds to the chilling lore around Alves, with many believing his malevolent spirit is trapped either lingering at the aqueduct where he committed his crimes or associated with his preserved head, which is still housed today in the University of Lisbon's medical facility. Legend has it that people have reported eerie sensations near the aqueduct, such as strange noises, a heavy atmosphere, or even seeing shadowy figures believed to be the restless spirit of Diogo, forever tied to the site of his infamous murders. Number 5. Quinta das Lágrimas. A historic estate in Coimbra, Portugal, is said to be haunted due to its tragic association with one of the most famous love stories in Portuguese history. The haunting is linked to the 14th century romance between King Pedro I and Ines de Castro. Ines was the lover of Pedro, but their relationship was forbidden by the Portuguese court. Thus, King Afonso IV, Pedro's father, ordered an execution of Ines, fearing her influence and the potential political consequences. Legend has it that he sent 3 assassins that stabbed and murdered Ines in the gardens of the estate, and finished by decapitating her with their swords. This horrendous murder was said to be witnessed by one of her children. Pedro was devastated and never forgave his father for this. But the story doesn't end there. When Pedro took the throne in 1357, he hunted down the 3 assassins, one after another. He not only killed them in revenge, but cut out their hearts in front of them, so they could feel the same pain that he did. Legend also has it that Pedro dug up Ines from her grave and crowned her on the throne, where he made the court kiss her hand and bow to their rightful highness. The ghost of Ines is said to haunt the estate to this day, with many visitors reporting a sense of sorrow and unease when near the fountain. There is a spring with red algae growth that is said to signify her blood. Her tragic story has been immortalized in Portuguese literature and culture, further enhancing the estate's eerie reputation. Number 6. Quinta da Jaca. Nestled in a small village in northern Portugal is an abandoned manor house that has been shrouded in dark urban legends. Back in the early 1900s, this old farm belonged to a baron named Luís Carneiro. The legend goes that the baron accused his wife, Maria Julia, of infidelity, and this sent him into a maniacal rage. He dragged her outside and tied her to the back of his horse. He then dragged her behind his horse around the entire property until she eventually succumbed to the torture. Completely shocked after realizing what he had done, he murdered his children and then committed suicide. Some locals that have visited the old manor at night have claimed to hear a horse galloping and a woman screaming. However, genealogical records later revealed the baron died in 1933 and his wife lived until 1955, thus disproving any murderous rampages or torturous events, but regardless, the property still remains very eerie and abandoned until this day. Number 7. The Chapel of Bones. The Chapel of Bones in Évora is often considered haunted due to its macabre nature. Built in the 16th century by a Franciscan monk, the chapel was designed to remind visitors of the transient nature of life. Its walls are lined with the bones and skulls of an estimated 5,000 people, primarily monks, which were relocated from a nearby cemetery that had run out of space. Legend and lore surrounding the chapel contribute to its eerie atmosphere. Visitors often report feeling a heavy, unsettling presence attributed to the sheer volume of human remains. Some believe the spirits of those whose bones were used in the construction may linger in the chapel. There is also a famous inscription which translates to "We bones that are here await yours," which adds to the sense of foreboding. Number 8. Sintra. Sintra is a place steeped in mystery and shadow, its haunting presence woven into the mist that clings to the hills. When hiking around the hills of Sintra, it is possible to sometimes stumble across remnants of a ritual like burnt candles, pendants, and offerings to the afterworld. The town's ancient palaces hide labyrinth tunnels that whisper of secret rituals and forbidden knowledge, speculated to once be occupied by the Knights Templar. Towering over the landscape, the Moorish castle looms, its stones soaked with centuries of battle and betrayal. Legends say the spirits of long-dead knights and tormented souls roam the forest. Even the Grand Pena Palace, with its vibrant colors, cannot escape the dark aura that envelopes the town. The fog that rolls in from the Atlantic wraps the land in an eerie silence, leaving an overwhelming sense of something watching, lurking, and waiting. It is as though Sintra itself breathes with the memories of those who have lived and died within its grasp, unable to move on. Number 9. The Cemetery of Pleasures. Lisbon is home to some horrific events, including the 1755 earthquake, which happened on All Hallows Day. Locals were inside of churches which crumbled atop of them, igniting a firestorm, and those who survived were then drowned by a tsunami. But this story tonight is about the Cemetery of Pleasures. Prazeres Cemetery in Lisbon is said to be haunted due to its long history and eerie atmosphere surrounding it. Established in 1833 during a cholera outbreak, it became the final resting place for Lisbon's wealthy and influential families, with many mausoleums and elaborate tombs lining its grounds. The grandeur of the cemetery, along with the silence and stillness within, gives it an otherworldly feel. Stories of hauntings have emerged from its age-old crypts and graves, where people report feeling the presence of lingering spirits. The cold marble mausoleums, many of which have been untouched for decades, create a very unsettling environment. Some claim to have seen shadows moving or heard disembodied whispers, particularly near the tombs of famous figures buried there. Adding to its haunted reputation is the location of the cemetery. Positioned at the top of the hill, it offers a panoramic view of Lisbon, but as the sun sets, the fog from the nearby river creeps into the cemetery, enveloping it in an eerie, ghostly haze. This atmosphere has led many to feel that the spirits of the departed may still roam among the graves, reluctant to leave behind the opulent symbols of their lives. If you know any truly haunting events that have happened in Portugal, please leave a comment below with the story. If you want to see more episodes about living in Portugal or the rest of Europe, or see hidden gems around the world, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. I'll be posting videos like this every single week on this channel. I'm also working on an abandoned Portugal series where we're going to check out some of the coolest abandoned buildings around Portugal. This is some guy named Dave in Portugal, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Have a very happy Halloween.